Alright, so, I've been wanting to do this for a couple of days now, so I am going to give my general impressions of Persona 5. I really like this game. I bought this a few days ago at Walmart because it was cheap, and I heard it was real good, so I don't usually do this sort of thing, but I always wanted to do, like, YouTube stuff and creative stuff like this, so fuck it. I'm gonna just make a video real quick and see how this goes. Persona 5 is an, I guess, what would you call this? It's a turn-based JRPG. That much, I think anyone knows who knows anything about Persona. It's a very good game. Like, it is extremely, it's extremely high fidelity visually. Like, I'm not gonna tell you that this game pushes the PS4 to its limits, because it doesn't. But it has a very distinct art style. And the art style is, in my opinion, real good. Like, it looks fantastic.
I have something. I can feel it.
Now, art style aside,
I'll reveal your
this
true
game
form.
is, it is very fun to play. Like, as you can see right here, the combat is, it's quick. It's very punchy. The animations are very well put together. Like, they're just fun to look at. The menus are very intuitive. They're good. They're quick to navigate. And the game gives you a lot of options in order, a lot of options to do what you want to do. So I like that about it. Now, I mentioned I'm playing this on the PS4, so you might be thinking, why aren't you using the PS4's built-in sharing features? Well, there's a very good reason for that. They're turned off. The publisher of this game, or are they the producer or the publisher? I don't know. Atlus, the guys who made this fucking game, they came out publicly and said, when this game was made, that because it's very story-based, there's only one game mode, they don't want to have that enabled, because they feel like it would spoil the game. Now, I feel like gameplay out of context doesn't really spoil much, which is why I'm doing it this way. So yeah, that's annoying, and so I have my cell phone propped up in a drink glass to get the right shot, so I can actually play the game and talk at the same time.
Persona! That's not right.
Now, you can probably tell right here that this game has
Well, on to the next try.
very interesting mechanics in terms of how you deal with enemies. Like, you have your standard battles, but you also have the ability to talk to your enemies, which is pretty revolutionary. Like, and talking to them has benefits. Like, you can get them to join you and add their power to yours. So it's sort of like Pokemon in that way, I guess. But, you know, these guys aren't as cute as Pokemon. Like, they're not nearly as cute as Pokemon. But what else is there? Boss fights are a real fucking pain in the ass. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Like, if you don't know about Persona boss fights in Advance, you wouldn't know this, but the boss fights in this game are fucking obnoxious. And mini-bosses especially are what annoy me. Because, it's for a very specific reason. It's that, what has happened several times, and this is my first time playing the game, I don't know how many more times this happens, but what happens several times is that regular enemies are used as mini-bosses. Now, you've never seen them before when they're used as a mini-boss.
Be careful.
But, once they are used as a mini-boss, they suddenly, have no weaknesses, and they have several resistances, so it's like, if you don't have your team set up in a very specific way in advance, you will just kind of be fucked.
Do not move a muscle.
So yeah, that's infuriating when that happens.
Okay. I could have handled that myself.
So yeah, that's infuriating. But that's not the biggest issue in the world, and that's honestly
Well,
kind of almost a non-issue.
oh,
Like, it's not the biggest deal in the world, it's just kind of annoying at the time. Like, you can easily look up what it is you need to do to fix something or other, but
nice. Okay.
but now I want to talk to you about the non-combat sections.
You're back.
And
Hey,
the non-combat sections, I feel, are very well put together. They're very interesting. They're very well, as you can see, it's very the art style once again comes to the center, and it looks fantastic. But
Morning.
like
Hey.
everyone, no shit, I didn't want to do that. Ah, crap. But you can just see it just by looking at it that it's very well put together artistically. Like, it has a very distinct style, and it looks great.
let's go.
And I completely fucked up that.
Hey,
Yes, I'm thinking it through. I know what I want to do. Ay. One thing that bothers me, and this drives me crazy, you cannot gather your team yourself. You need to be they come to you. Someone comes to you and asks you if you want to gather the team. You don't have an option to gather them on your own, and that makes the game a lot more annoying to get through. Because there are just going to be several days where they don't come to you at all, and you can't do anything, and it drives me crazy, because goddammit, I want to get my crew together. I can't find any of them, and it's obnoxious. But anyway, non-combat sections like this is the part of the game where you hang out with your friends that you make in the game, and you do the side activities. The side activities, a lot of them are just, how are your social a lot of them are kind of just are just basic stat checks really. Like you have these social stats right here, and they just a lot of the side activities, not all of them, mind you, but a good number of them just function as stat checks. Like I'm gonna show you one right here. A burger shop. Now, the side activity here is it's one of those like eating contests. You eat this ridiculously huge thing,
Thank you very much.
and if
Well
you
then.
can eat it, you get a prize. That's how it functions, and it's, you know.
Nice. Hey, wait. Congratulations.
You get an item,
Please come again.
and completing it, you get
See.
a bunch of stat points. You get stat points. Which, you know, it's cool.
All right.
Probably not gonna level up any of them with this. Why would that level up charm? I feel like that would not be a charming thing to do.
Wanna head back?
Anyway. Typically during a day, you get 2 side activities, which, I mean, depending on what it is you choose to do, you know, depending on what it is you choose to do, it can be very rewarding. Or you might not get any stat points at all, and you might just kind of screw yourself a little bit. Not irreparably, because there's so many opportunities to get stat points up that missing 1 or 2 isn't gonna kill you.
Okay.
I will say spending time with other characters, though, is just... it's really fun to do that. The last thing I want to talk about is the framing device, or framing devices that the game uses to tell its story in. The game uses 2 central framing devices. The first one is just, you know, high school student. You have the schedule. This is what you do every day. Very simple anime stuff. Nothing like revolutionary there. The second framing device is, well, I don't want to spoil it, is the thing. If you've never played Persona 5 and you've never, like, spoiled yourself on it, it's actually pretty crazy to see it first. And it leaves you with a ton of questions. So, I don't want to spoil it, so I'm not gonna. But the 2 framing devices are constantly overlapping. And, you know, depending on what I do right now, I might actually trigger one of them to come to the forefront. But it looks like nothing like that is happening right now, so, which is good, because I don't want to spoil it. But the 2 framing devices are just, the way they interact with each other, it's really fun. It's great. And it lends the storytelling a whole other element that you would not be aware of just looking at gameplay footage, you know? And the transition between one framing device and the other, it really makes you think, what the fuck is happening here? It honestly, it's almost a little creepy. And you got it in your head, like, what's happening? I don't even know how you would even ask the question, really. But those are my general impressions on it. This is the fourth or fifth time I've tried recording this. The first time I left a checkbook in the shot. So I left a checkbook in the shot, and I literally had to re-record the entire thing. The second time, I was in a different part of the game, and it was nothing but cutscenes, spoiling story stuff nonstop. So I didn't want to use that footage. And the third time, my phone died. This was all in the middle of the night a few days ago. And now I've just woken up, I just had breakfast, and I wanted to get this done and uploaded. So, those are my Persona 5 impressions. That's really all I've got to say about it without spoiling the story. I will say one thing about the characters. There is one character in your class who I feel super bad for. She just gets constantly gaslighted by the principal, and she gets so much shit from everyone. And she's such a poor kid, I feel so bad for her. But honestly, you kind of feel bad for all the characters, because they all just get constantly shit on when you first meet them, especially. Yeah, that's it, I think. Alright. Goodbye, whoever the fuck watches this shit.